Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about how to tell that a man is ready for marriage. So the conversation is really about men and marriage. I am super excited. Let's go. Today we are at the lovely Canary Hotel, and if you're looking for a place to come and spend time with your spouse, this is it. A home away from home. Canary Hotel has some amazing offers. For double occupancy, you can stay here at only 400,000. But because you follow me, we're giving you an amazing discount. Use the discount code Lisa K and you'll get a 10% discount. For single occupancy, it's 350, but you can get a discount on that. So please do check them out on their website or on their Instagram page at Canary Hotel, and you will have an amazing time with your spouse. On the channel today, we have Nelson. Nelson, welcome to the channel.
I'm so happy to be here. Yeah,
How are you
I've been seeing
doing?
like serious people on your channel, and I'm like, hey,
One day.
when I get the invitation, I'll know I've done something right.
Yes, and you're here today.
Come on.
So
Nice
welcome. How are
Thank
you
you.
doing?
I'm great. I'm really, really good. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Happy to be talking with you about marriage. My gosh.
How long have you been married? Tell us who you are, how long you've been married.
Well, my name is Nelson, but my friends call me Nell. And the ones who don't feel very nice about me call me Nelly, but let's not do that.
Nelly.
Let's not do that. Yes, I've been married for, how long have we been married for? 11 years.
Wow.
We shall make 12 years in February. To one wife who was born a woman.
That's important.
It's important these days to emphasize that. Yeah, one wife, born a woman. We have 3 kids together.
Amazing.
It's an adventure, and every day is a good day to throw more problems in the equation. That's my job in the marriage, to make it interesting.
Keep it interesting.
Keep it interesting.
Keep it light.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Go for new adventures.
So we're going to talk about men and marriage, and we just
Yeah.
want to hear from your experience. How long did you date? How did you know she was the one? First tell us the
Now,
gist.
one of the things that is very good is I got married long ago, because
Things were easy.
it was so much easier. The pressure is too much.
I know.
Like, my gosh. First of all, I don't know where people go for dates these days. Everything is expensive.
Yeah.
Nowadays, a date was 2K. Half chips, half rice.
2K, what at Fido Dido?
Listen, I'm giving you the menu.
Okay.
2K was half chips, half rice, and
Yeah.
a pair of sausages.
Wow.
Serious
2K.
food, 2K. So 4K, you could date on a campus's budget.
Yeah.
But these days, maybe campus's budgets increase. Anyway, how long did we date for? Well, I remember feelings coming at a certain point, and making advances and being denied.
Tough.
It was tough. And I put in the effort, man.
Yeah.
I wrote songs. I recorded an album.
Hey.
What?
And she said no, please.
She said no. It wasn't that simple, but anyway, it took a while. This would have been, 2009? I traveled towards the end of 2009 to study. And I think long distance made the heart grow fonder. So most of our real dating happened via email and Skype.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? Actually, let's do a thing. And so, yeah, most of those were online situations without WhatsApp. Online without WhatsApp.
Wow.
So it was Skype, emails, and Facebook for about 2 years, 3 years. Then we got married 2013.
So how did you know she was the one?
How did I know she was the one? Truth be told, is we'd been friends for a very long time. Sharon and I met in 2005, 2004, late 2004, 2005, somewhere there.
Yeah.
The years resemble each other, I'm not sure. We met, we used to hang out, we were best friends. Well, we were a group of friends and we were always together. Somewhere along the way, she was always available for things we were doing that were important to me.
Yeah.
And feelings began to show when we were spending more time together. But that was not until 2009, So we'd been friends for like 5
For
years.
long, yeah.
We had gotten to know each other at a very platonic level, together with other people, where our best friends are each other's best friends. You know what I mean?
We're all best friends.
You're all best friends. And I suppose that's part of what might have made it hard for her to commit to a relationship like that, because you're so close. But yeah, like the things that mattered to me were important to her.
Yeah.
The things that I was invested in, she was invested in, time-wise. So we got to talking, and I think I wasn't overthinking it either. I was just like, hey, I like her. She's hot, and she's nice. Did I say she was hot yet?
Yes.
Come
please.
on now.
Emphasis
on hot. And so when she allowed to be my special friend, in my mind it was like, well, we may as well get married as soon as possible. But now I had to first study. So school was in the way. And after school, not long after we finished school, did we start planning to get married. Yeah. All is well. Not long after we started dating was I thinking about marriage. But also, to be fair, Sharon was not the first girlfriend I had. And I probably considered marrying the previous girlfriend. And then she dumped me, so... So I guess I really wanted to get married.
For you wanted marriage.
Yeah. I was born and raised in church. And I knew that a relationship didn't make sense if it didn't go towards marriage.
Yeah.
Yes, since we're dating, so I guess we're getting married.
Yes.
To me, saying like, hey, we're going to date meant, well, okay, we could get married unless something doesn't work out.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. So now you get married to this hot, amazing
Emphasis
lady.
on hot, yeah.
Emphasis. Panange. I think people are dying to see Sharon because you have... Hey, wow, we are... Anyway, so you get married. How is the transition like, especially for a man? We know that many men, I feel like women are prepared more for marriage than the men. The men go in, let's do this, you know. How was that transition like for you?
I honestly never thought too much about it while it happened. I think it's because I've been coasting most of my life, not just exist in the moment through its ups and downs, And so getting married was like, hey, we can get married. This is awesome. I love her. She loves me too. Let's go. And then we got married. And then I was like, okay, this is the next phase of life. Honest to God, my mind was just like, okay, this is it. Now we are together all the time. You drive together. The real tensions came when, I guess, she started asking all kinds of questions. Women...
Tough questions. Important questions.
Such serious questions.
Yeah.
And me, I haven't thought about any of it, So she would ask all these really powerful questions. And I'm like, what? Why are we thinking about that? It's not yet time for that. We're still young.
You're thinking too far.
You're thinking too far. Like, we'll do that in the future, Like, we've just gotten married. So when are we going to buy land and build a house? I'm like, hey...
Serious hot cheek, my friend.
Those are things for big people.
Yeah.
I'm still a small person. Though I think that was like those were like the transitions that were new for me. Were the questions that started coming up that were not my questions, but all of a sudden they were very important questions that needed answers. They are life questions that I had, but I wouldn't attach them to marriage. They were like, they already existed. They were just there. So I think the biggest change in the transition for me was discovering that there are other important questions that someone else has that have all of a sudden become important for me. And I don't know how to answer these questions. And I think part of the challenge for us is we were among our friends who were the first to get married.
Yeah.
So that meant that we didn't have married friends. it was just us.
Yeah.
All of our friends were properly single.
They're now looking to you, in fact.
Yeah, they're like, hey man, you guys, now you've gone before us. How is it? Should we also come?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some delayed, some have not yet crossed over. But anyway, yeah, that was a bit. I mean, looking back now, knowing what I know now, I know that was a gap in our lives. We didn't have married friends for a long time. We had fellowship at church, but like in our generation of people, we were the first ones to get married. The ones who got married before us were much older than us. And so we didn't have like those kinds of relationships.
Yeah.
And we had never built those kinds of, we didn't have that history of building those kinds of relationships. And so for a long time, we were kind of just forging things.
By
ourselves. I guess we made some really horrible choices and some not so bad choices in the mix. But yeah, my brother was married, but we never talked about married stuff. He's my brother. That's weird.
Yeah. Don't go too deep.
Don't go too deep, man. Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of it. There are things which we thought were bad ideas. Well, there are conflicts we had in those early days where you could start to feel like maybe we're not doing this well. Maybe this is bad. It's not until Sharon started hanging out with a certain group of married guys at Mavuno Church. And they started like sharing. And then she'd come back home and she'd be like, can you believe the stories this guy said? And they were funny because all of a sudden I wasn't such a weird person. I was just a man.
Yeah.
It was like, she was starting to say, hey, you mean other
Other
husbands do this? It's not just you. Isn't that interesting? I always thought you were weird, but turns out you're like other guys.
Yeah.
I wasn't hanging out with those guys, so I wasn't hearing what the women were saying. I had refused. I was like, but it was early times and we had different kinds of tension. Yeah.
So what are those things that you feel you should have known better as a man going into marriage that could have helped you with managing the whole new marriage phase and going through marriage?
I think, and this is something I share with the young men in my life who are getting married, is it's nice to lose. I had to learn how to lose. Let me explain that. Someone said it this way once, and I thought that was the most beautiful thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
He talked about how in the Bible, Paul talks to the husbands and he says to love your wife just as Christ loved the church. And then the guy who told it to me the first time I heard it stopped there and he said, but how did Christ love the church?
He died.
He lost so that the church could exist. It could win. He died. He gave his life for it. But he didn't give it as an exchange that was guaranteed. Like when Jesus died, there was no promise that the people he died for would love him.
Yeah.
But he just did it anyway and made himself available. And now we have this perpetual availability of God that I can stop and say, you know what? I'm going to love you. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to trust you. And then I'll fox him immediately. And then I'll come back. And he's always going to be a steady constant. That his love for me is not being triggered by my devotion to him. It is a constant. And it is it's me who benefits. And then that's the responsibility. Now you're a husband, you love your wife like that. That was one of the most profound lessons I ever learned about being a husband. And I think on the days when I remember it, we win. Because all of a sudden, I'm remembering that I don't need to win an argument. I don't need to win a decision that needs to be made. If it is a decision that matters in terms of like our values, if it's a decision that matters in terms of our future, let's talk about it. Sure, but I don't need to win.
I know.
I can lose.
Yeah. I like the saying.
And just continue to love.
Lose to win. Lose for the marriage to win.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when we're looking for you to win, Okay, yes, you've won.
Yeah. And then
now
what?
she's annoyed, she's angry, she's not
Yeah,
happy, and then
everyone is
now
annoyed.
everyone is annoyed. You know? Yeah, I like that. Okay, so lose to win for the marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, just be willing to lose. Not every fight is worth winning. And also I think what I started, or at least I still am appreciating from that perspective, is that nobody gets married before they are at least an adult, right? So minimum age
18.
that someone will get married is 18. Those are 18 years of culture, of opinions, of perspective, of what life look like.
Yeah.
And now these two worlds are colliding. When I got married, I was 26. So we're 26 years of history of seeing the world a certain type of way. And now you're colliding and you're trying to build this world together.
Yeah.
But you have very different points of view on what winning looks like, on what a good idea is. So in order to move forward, someone is going to have to lose.
Yeah.
Compromise is very, very hard because the foundation is so strong.
Exactly.
You know? But then, you realize that at the end of the day, we're trying to build something together. I trust her that she's not trying to build something that will destroy us. She's trying to build something that will help us. So if I lose and she wins, it could help us. So
for me, that looks also like some sort of maturity. You know, like, you know, coming to that realization that this is for the marriage, all of us. So it's okay for me to let down my desires for the other person. Sometimes it's maturity, you know, and maybe to just have you share your thoughts, because as women, we are taught so much, we are prepared for this marriage thing. We have the saying girls that tell us all these things. Women are going to other women, asking them, how is it done? But I feel like the men are not doing anything about preparing themselves, you know? Do you believe that to be true? Have you seen that as well?
It's true. It's not only true, but also like women look at marriage very differently from men. Women look at marriage as a promotion, as in life, you know? Like, and this is generally speaking, that you more naturally find women talk about getting married as an advancement. Oh, I'm getting married. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
You made it.
You've made it. Life is good. Men look at marriage as a death, like an end. You're getting married. What? Are you sure? It's like you contracted a disease. You got married. You're getting married?
Oh.
When did you decide? Man, guys, we need to meet this guy. He's getting married.
Yeah.
So like the perspectives are so different, you know? Now, it's not like a disease or an end per se, because it's just a different feeling that is attached to it. And I can't speak with authority on where it comes from. I can only share what my thoughts are. Perhaps I have a daughter who's young, and I already tease her about the idea of boyfriends, you know? And she's like, oh God, Daddy, you're being weird. The shows she likes to watch, she likes to be pretty, and like romance is exciting. Now she's young, she's just 10 years old. So it's not complex, it's not life, it is just fantasy. And that's her perspective. It is interesting. While the guys on the other hand, them they're thinking, man, you know what? My son is like, I want to play football. You know? This thing about like, so like, just as different genders, like we grow up with such different perspectives on life that makes us see marriage so differently. And so as you mature, I think a lot of us guys interfaced with the idea of marriage as the ultimate responsibility. And so we look at it with this thing of, man, you don't go there unless you're ready to go there. And the readiness we're talking about is like the ultimate form of
financial,
of responsibility, whether it is financial, stability, like, I'm a man. It is the ultimate growing up, you know, and nobody wants to grow up. So men are generally saying, let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that's the ultimate level of of growing up, and we still want to watch cartoons, you know,
and play video games.
We still want to play video games. Every man still wants to be a little teenage boy, you know.
Really?
Well, I'm just. So when you see it from like those perspectives, it's not something I've experienced as a naturally occurring thing for guys, you know. But then every guy becomes an adolescent, and then hormones kick in, and the hormones go into overdrive, and so it is also not too wrong to say that a lot of guys think about marriage primarily thinking about sex. And the opportunity of it. It's like, okay, you know what, if I'm going to have intimacy with a person, there is this reward called sex that is such a big part of it as well. And a lot of those decisions, like the sexual influences, is really strong in there. But what's not being talked about is like, oh, you know, I'm looking for a friend, a life partner.
To journey with. And
guys have that. They're called the boys, you know? I have my boys.
Oh, you guys have like shallow jazz, what up, and that's it. Like, do you ever go deep?
It looks that way, but like I've said, like we experience life quite differently. That, you know, a guy will sit with the guy and he'll say, man. And they want us to do that. That's it. And that is it, man. And it means so much. And like, man, today was a good day. We sat down, we played FIFA. That was great. Let's do it again sometime. I feel like I've lost, the stress has lifted. Thanks, guys. So it's just a different human experience. And I think that difference becomes so apparent when you get married. Because the guy is like, man, if I can just sit down and be watched by the TV, life is great. And maybe the wife is thinking, man, we want to talking, can we talk?
Let's go deeper.
Both of you are looking for the same release.
Differently.
But you're looking for it differently. And it's wild, you know? So I think those are some of the tensions that come, and the culture looks that way. Is it ideal? No. Can it be improved? For sure.
Exactly. How can we help the men or advise the men to prepare better and not just look at it from a basic kind of perspective? Because like we have learned, marriage is work. Many times we feel like the women are working, trying. Okay, let's talk. Okay, how about we do this? You know, let's keep it spicy. And then the one is just the recipient. It's like, okay, all right.
That's how it looks.
That's how it looks sometimes, you know.
Yeah, sometimes.
So how?
And I think, unfortunately, it really is that way sometimes. Again, like different backgrounds. But, you know, being a Christian, I think like the answer is always the same. It's discipleship. Like, young men need to be discipled towards whatever purpose they can fulfill while they are alive. If they're going to be good employees, they need to be discipled. If they're going to be good husbands, they need to be discipled. If they're going to be good fathers, they need to be discipled. But yeah, for sure, as a Christian man who is married, I have that responsibility to disciple other young men, to be ready for a wide range of aspects of life, including
marriage,
getting married. And that as he gets married, can I stay close with this guy, close enough to be available to support his growth in it? For sure, the church has the biggest opportunity to help men to be better. And if it doesn't, if we Christians don't take on that responsibility, then, you know, single mothers will not stop happening. Because like I've said, a lot of men are still primarily driven by sex. And once they're satisfied, like, you know, the responsibility is not exciting. Responsibility is just not an exciting word. But to learn to own it and to find the honor that comes with it, someone has to be taught, to be mentored, to be discipled. I think that is the realest solution.
And how does discipleship look like? You know, because we hear discipleship, men should be discipled. Ideally, what does that even mean?
it looks like a lot of work.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there is no shortcut to it. I don't think there is. But it looks like a lot of work because you can't disciple someone who you don't treat as your own son.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to work with a guy and say, this is a guy I'm going to mentor, this is a guy I'm going to disciple, to prepare him for life by the grace of God, I have to treat him like my own son. So the thing about my kids is they don't have to ask me to love them.
Yeah.
Just by seeing them,
You love them.
I love them.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's someone who you didn't give birth to, you have to learn how to love them.
That's true.
And so you're going to have to pray for God to give you that grace. But you've got to love them enough so that you can look for them, spend time with them, be concerned about the choices they're making in life, be involved in their life in those moments as they make those choices, to help them to grow, to help them to make better choices. It is work. It is literal fatherhood. It really is fatherhood. And I think that is why when Jesus gave us the instruction to make disciples, two things he said that I think are super important as we try to follow those instructions. One, in Matthew 28, he says, go and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to obey everything I've told you. And then he says, oh, and I'll be with you.
Yeah.
In Acts 1:8, he says, go and tell everyone. And then he says, you'll receive power when the Holy Spirit comes to go and tell everyone. It's really hard to do it well if God is not helping you. Because you need like a pure deposit of love that doesn't come naturally. And the thing is that when you pick someone and say, hey, I'm going to work with you, I'm going to disciple you, I'm going to help you in life and what, that guy is going to make really beautiful mistakes, mindfully.
Yeah.
And you'll feel a certain type of way about it. To stay in love with a person like that, it requires something divine.
When I hear men, and you're talking about loving a man, because men usually don't.
It's weird.
So caring for a man that much to support him, to work with him, to put in time, I think is something that men need to be doing, and also need to know that it's important for them.
Yeah. And if you are the recipient of that kind of love, you need to also give it to someone else. That's how it grows. The last time I checked, swamps don't grow. They just die. Like everything that goes there dies. And I think it's there's a scripture in Ezekiel, I can't remember which chapter it was. He's talking about God. And there's this river that's flowing out of the temple of God. And everywhere it goes, it brings life. The banks of the river, trees are sprouting, and the fish are coming to life. And everywhere that river went as it grew, there was life. Apart from the swamps, because they just receive and they don't give. I think as a man who has been helped by another man, I am better suited to benefit from the help I received when I also make myself available to give that help to the next guy. And there's so many incredible questions about life. Challenging ones, big ones. There's a mentor of mine, it's called Obunde. And I love having conversations with him because it just makes life easier. It makes it look so simple. And he has accomplished so much in his life. This one time I was worried about so much, it was early days in our marriage. You need more money for everything.
Yeah.
Like rent keeps coming. We had a business, and you're paying rent for 3 months.
Yeah.
We had a home, we're paying rent for 3 months. So it felt like I was paying rent for 3 months every month. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, you get like 1 month of rest, then
and
rent
then
for 3 months, then rent for 3 months, and 1 month for rent. It's so tight. And then you're looking for money just for life.
Basic.
You have a car. When money comes, that is when the tires need a change. That is when the breakdown, all the problems are coming. So you're young, just got married, you found out you're pregnant, you have a child on the way, you need more money, not enough money. Da, da, da. Oh man. And then while I'm in the stress of all of that, I met a guy who was saying, a man who can't provide for his family has no place in ministry. I was like,
yeah.
okay. So as a man, I've been disqualified from existing and serving because I'm struggling with this. And so I got to meet this mentor friend of mine. And I said, man, I had this guy say this, and I'm trying to figure out, man, how do I do that? He said, yeah, well, that is true, but you should not forget who provides for you. And I was like, what do you mean? I said, God is the one who provides for you. You provide for your family, and God provides for you. And I was looking at him thinking, that's the simplest statement I've ever heard. And I want to believe it, but I don't want to accept it because it's too simple. But because of his position in my life, I could tell that he wasn't playing games. He was being very serious. He's like, look, man, that hustle that you're going through, it's a normal hustle. Just don't forget who provides for you as you try to provide for your family. And I kid you not, that has been one of the most profound lessons of my life, because I'm learning, and on my good days, I remember not to worry about how we shall manage and if it makes me a better man, a better husband or not, because I remember that, what? God provides for me. So am I available for God's provision? If I'm being available for God's provision, then, okay, I can have a bit of courage to be a husband and say, this is where we're going. This is what we're going to do.
Wow, amazing. I love that. And maybe just to speak to the people, in the audience, there are so many ladies who are watching this video and want to know, how do we tell that a man is ready for this thing? Ready to make it work? Like, how do we know that he's ready for marriage? Are there some signs and some cues so that we don't fumble?
That's such a good question, because we know many people who have not made it in marriage, whose husbands have changed on them after they got married. And I get it, because now I'm thinking about my daughter. I'm like, I hope you get a guy who is sober-minded,
But I like that perspective. Every man should be looking at it like that. If it's your daughter, how? Because I think that will give like a light bulb moment.
I don't know if you can know that a guy is ready, but I know that there are some things that can help you to know if this is a relationship that makes sense, that has a good enough foundation. I tell this to young people around me all the time. If the person you want to spend the rest of your life with is not your very good friend, whose very good friends are your very good friends, you're in for a surprise. Because see, what happens is that, let us say you married this guy. You went out maybe a couple of dates, a couple of months. He has the outward looking features.
Physique.
He has the physique. He has the job, the stability. I think he's a good man. He looks God-fearing. Yeah, because you can look God-fearing. And so you decide that this is the guy he has proposed, I'm going to go into it. Look, when you have a fight, who are you going to talk to about it? You're going to talk to your friends, right? Now, the way your friends know your husband, they'll either defend him, saying, he did what? That doesn't sound like him. We've known him. We've grown with him. We've lived with him. That sounds out of pocket for that guy. If they don't know him, they'll say, he did what? That guy is the devil. And who are they telling? You, the wife. And so you walk away from that conversation feeling even more resentment towards him. He has a problem with you, and then he goes to talk to his boys. Says, man, you can't believe what that baby is doing. Say, man, women, let me tell you, women.
That is who they are.
But if you are friends, you have a community of friends that you know each other, and you came and said, man, you won't believe what Lisa did. Really? Lisa, the one we know. Something must be wrong. Is she okay? Is everything okay? They're going to give you the benefit of doubt to trust your spouse. And so I think that one of the really important foundations for choosing a person to get married to is you've got to be friends.
Friendship.
You've got to be surrounded by friends. Then you will know. It's really hard for me to go to Sharon's friends and say, you can't believe what Sharon did. And when I say go to Sharon's friends, I mean my friends, because
they're your friends.
They're the same friends, you know. Instead, when I go there, I'll be like, well, yeah, this thing is happening, and now I have no choice but to also come off as a good person. So I can't make her the devil, because everyone knows that she's an angel. And if she's an angel and there's a problem, like then the only devil can possibly be you. And so now I'm put in a position where I have to consider my contribution to the problems that we're having, you know. Well, at least if I'm sober-minded. All I'm saying is that it's a stronger foundation. Friendship. It's a stronger foundation to have friendship there. Because after you get married, the sparks of sex
butterflies and what,
they go away rather quickly, and you're left with friendship. And if that's missing, you're left with nothing. And then that's when the fights start to find their pockets to fit in. So I'd say, yeah, man, marry someone who you are a friend to, whose friends are your friends. You have a better foundation.
So from what I'm hearing, you're saying the key thing is friendship.
100%.
Is there anything else that can help us in choosing these men?
Come on now. Well, I that's the one I rate the most. Most of the rest is going to be value related, character. And if you're friends with a guy whose character you hate, that is interesting when you choose to marry that person, you know. But if a guy believes God and his word, and trusts God and his word, and you're friends enough to know that this guy is not talking about it like he came up with this idea yesterday, but his life has the evidence of I trust God and his word. You're in a better position because, like I've said, there are many opinions we can have about many things. About what is a good job, there are many opinions we can have about many things. But the best opinion is God's opinion about everything. And the guy who fears God enough to trust his opinion about all things in a way that is consistent with what God says, that is going to be a person who will make choices that are better. And you know, what's hard about that is how can I know that this guy fears God? A person who loves God loves people. A person can't say he loves God without what?
Loving others.
Not loving people. It's impossible because you've never seen God. And God measures our love for him in how we love the people around us. So this guy fears God because you see that in his existence, he does treasure people. He values people. He dignifies people. He loves justice. A guy who loves justice will not abuse you because that is injustice. But a guy who loves himself, who says, me, I love God. People will fox you, but I trust God. That guy doesn't know God. A guy who loves God, loves people, and protects justice, fights for justice. A person who is always fighting against people, and you marry him, when he chooses to fight against you,
he will finish you.
He'll finish you because he has to protect himself. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous when a man is so committed to winning. When a man is so committed to winning, he will achieve it, whatever it takes. And sometimes it will come with a lot of pain. But a man who fears God has learned that losing is okay as long as God is winning.
I really love that. And now that you're in marriage, you know, as you share your experience, what are some of the things you'd like to tell the men who are already in marriage and probably were not ready, so to speak, or or the women chose now, it's too late.
It is,
you know? So how do those people navigate marriage for the better?
You've got to find people to do it with. When we were, like I said, when we got married, we didn't have married friends. And there were tensions that Sharon brought out every now and then. I didn't rate the tensions. I was like, what do you mean? We're fine. We're okay.
And men always think things are fine.
Yeah, because that's the perspective we have. There are details that she has that I don't have, and I was never taught to think of it from that perspective.
Yeah.
And so I remember she went looking for help, like I said, and she found this community of people who actually helped. And when she told me about it, I said, nah, I'm not going to go there. We don't have a problem.
Yeah, everything is going.
Everything is okay.
And by the way, we need to tell people that talking to people doesn't mean something is wrong.
Yeah.
It's just good to keep that environment.
Yeah, it is good to keep that environment of community. A community environment is always going to be a better environment. So in our days, I was the apprehensive one. I didn't want to be there. I think I went once. I was like, okay, this is not bad. It's not bad. But now I was already committed to making sure that I don't go there. So now I'm not going to go.
I know.
Even though it's a
ego.
But it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking back, I'm like, you know what? It wouldn't be bad to be in those kinds of spaces. Find people to do it with. Yeah. There are many things that you're disagreeing about that so many people have already disagreed about and figured out.
They've gone through it.
Exactly. And it is so funny how while you're in it, you think you're the original sinner. But man, the creative sinners finished sinning. Yeah. So now you can just read their pamphlets or meet them in person and learn from them. Yeah, just find people to do it with. You don't have to say anything. Just listen. Just by listening, you'll laugh. I guarantee it will be funny. It will be funny because you'll think they live inside your house. You'll be like, how did you know that? How did you know that? Because on the most part, where the intention of life is good, we make the same mistakes.
That's true.
Yeah. So just find people to do it with.
Yeah. So how would you advise someone who is in your same situation, who, like where you are, they want to bring the men in to these fellowships, to these groups, but the men are resisting. You know, what made you get that switch to like, okay, you know what? It's okay. Let's go. Because the people who text me all the time and say, first of all, they do not know where the men's groups are or the marriage groups are, you know, how to support the men. But then the men are not budging. They're like, that's tough. What's that? You know, so how do you tell the women, what should we do as women to invite men?
Powerful stuff. Man, that's such a powerful question. And I'm not sure I have a great answer, but I'm going to forge for you an answer now. Here's what I think. Women are more, again, I'm speaking generally.
Generally. Don't take offense.
Yeah. But they're more responsive to being led. Men, not so much. Men want it to be their idea when it comes up. And so you'll find like when you are persistent on an idea and say, we should do it, it's important, it's good for us. At some point, you know, it can become a problem.
Nagging.
And that's just some broken communication. You know? And the idea that you're sharing is not necessarily bad, but its presentation is not supporting the person, you know? If you can find a better way to communicate, not better, a different way to communicate, depending on who you're married to, because different people are different again, that gives them the opportunity to think through it and then make it their choice. You'll be surprised at when they'll say, hey, this sounds interesting, let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Man, I know some strange stories of a wife who went and told her guy, man, if you go and talk to him, he will respond. But now that guy has also to be wise enough
to bring it out properly.
Not to bring, you know, like at the end of the day, we're human beings and we're dealing with human problems. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're right. You're the wife and you're absolutely right. But now you're dealing with a human man and for whatever reason on that day, his ego is up. How are you going to penetrate that? Not by
pushing it.
Because the more you push, the more he's going to.
Yeah.
There's a thing I read. There's a book we once read as a group, and you might have read this book before. It's Women Are From Venus, Men Are From Mars. Fantastic book. Highly recommend it. Very offensive book, but first relax your your feelings and just take the content the way it is. Because this guy, his research is great. I think he does a great job at demonstrating the differences in how men communicate and how women communicate. And really the problem is we're struggling to communicate using the same language because we're speaking different languages. Yeah. One of the things that men generally tend to do is to withdraw. Like, if I spend some time alone, I'm going to come back with so much energy. And then when you find a guy who has found that energy and he has come with all that energy, man, any idea is a great idea. He'll go for it quickly. But when a guy is not getting the opportunity to withdraw, and you keep coming at him, man, he starts to close even more. And even the idea, which was a great idea, becomes a bad idea. Yeah. Why is it a bad idea in his mind? Man, the truth is he just needed time to withdraw. So that tension can be really difficult to navigate. Why? Because women, generally speaking, again, on the other hand, they want to connect. They want to talk. This is how they get refreshed. And so our refreshments are different. Yeah. What I'd say is, like, to find wisdom, to find the appropriate time to communicate in a way that makes sense depending on who you're married to. But on the most part, when a man thinks this is a good idea, he'll take it. And when you're not around, he will confess to his blocks that this was actually his wife's idea.
But I've also learned that men listen to men. Yeah. For some reason, like it will be like more, they'll receive it better when it comes from another man. Like, okay, that's a good idea. Maybe it's an ego thing.
When it comes from a third party, it's like when you're married, you're in each other's lives all the time. You're just the first party. A third party is different. Yeah. And I think even women have a similar experience. It's just not expressed the same way over the same issues. But a third party kind of brings into the conversation an outside voice that isn't a constant voice in the house. And it can be helpful. Yeah.
I love that. So I always try to encourage the women out there, find creative ways to pull the guy in somehow, ensure that he's in a good circle of men, so that they give him appropriate advice that is, godly and is going to help the family as a whole.
100%.
Yeah. And now when you looking back at your journey, what are some of the things you wish you were told before you got into marriage that could help a man out there who is trying to enter, also a woman who is trying to assess, if, knowing what you know now.
I'll tell a guy, well, I've told several guys this, that the many things I can tell you about getting married, all of them will not make sense until you get married.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you some things now, but not long after you've gotten married. Let's start talking immediately. Yeah. Because it's one of those, there are tensions, challenges, growth opportunities that need the stimulus to be present, that now we're married. So to have a community and to maintain it, to have a person that you listen to, that you follow and stay with it, to have a person that you lead and stay with it. I think that's a balanced life, that I'm part of a community. Yeah. I'm not following someone in isolation. It's me and him. I'm following him within a community. Yeah. That is healthy, because that means even the person I'm following is part of a community of people. They're not God.
Alone, you just
exactly. Yeah. So to have that balanced relational life, I have a person I'm following who's gone before me. That's healthy. To have a person I'm leading who will come after me, that's healthy. And all of this exists within a community of people. That's going to be healthy. To find a person to follow, that's not something that I was taught. because you'd think, hey, if I find someone who can mentor me, say, hey, can you mentor me? They say, okay, I have time for you. And then now I could get to mentor me, but he doesn't have time for me, never calls me. That's not how mentorship works. The mentee has to be the one who shows up
exactly
to be mentored. And so to say have someone that you follow literally means find someone that you show up for. You're in their world,
their space.
You're in their space. You are involved in the things they're doing. You're serving the visions that they're building.
You're asking questions.
That's how you will be mentored by someone.
We
like
don't wait for the mentor to call you out.
A good mentor is too busy to think of you. Because a good mentor is someone who is someone, right? Is too busy to be thinking of you. You have to show up and be valuable to him or her in order to be mentored by them. So you've got to get someone to mentor you, show up in their world and be mentored. And you've got to mentor someone, because whatever you receive,
you must give.
If you're not giving it,
you'll be a swamp.
You're a swamp. It's dead. It does nothing for you.
I love that analogy.
Absolutely nothing for you. But the lessons you learn that you take in and you share, man, they become foundational pillars in your life, and they'll help you. I wasn't taught those types of things. And so a lot of the early parts of my life, I was forging, making proper mistakes, messing things up until things were really bad. Then I went looking for help. And it was funny because the help was really there all along.
But you just didn't.
I just wasn't looking
But you also didn't know, so now we know better, guys. And I love what you said. When you tell people advice before they get married, it just didn't make sense sometimes.
It won't make sense.
And that's why I feel like premarital counseling is amazing. Even after we get married, now we need that continuous thing, because all those things, we write in our notebooks, and just like, there is no way he can do that. You mean he will just be...
You mean that's an issue? That can't be an issue.
Like, as they're telling you, you're like, I want to write. It's not us.
You'd never know.
So I really love that it should be kind of systematic. Like after, there's also during, and then having people around you, I think is really key. For me, that one, if I would tell someone who's getting married now, if you're looking for a partner, where is his community? If he's doing life alone,
it's danger.
It's dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
It's not that things will go bad, but it's dangerous because you cannot be an island.
He can't be corrected. A person who is not doing life with people is always right.
And you can't say anything about
anything.
Now we shall just be fasting for you. Prayer and fasting.
Come on now, we have to pray.
So I think women should be alert. Men should put in the work, have a community. Friendship is what I've picked from you. Super important, because when butterflies run out, all you have sometimes is that friendship, and that, that love that you're talking about, just loving that person. If you don't want to see them hurt, you consider them over yourself. You're selfless, and things like that. So, wow. Any final thoughts that you've not given us as we conclude?
Man, let me tell you, it's not a new thought. It's the same thought. I just think it's a pretty important thought. It's community. You're looking for someone to get married to. You're not yet married. If they're not in the community you already exist in, that's dangerous. There are stories of success that exist.
Of course, but
But you can't. There's no foundation like you can build on. It's not like a promise, And the tensions, they come for everyone. Everyone. The nicest people turn into the devil after you get married.
They can, yes.
They turn into the devil. The absolute worst, like, I can't believe how bad this guy is, and vice versa. But if you have a good foundation of a strong community, man, you have no choice but to realize that, what the truth is, I'm also the devil. So
let me work on
what are we going to do?
Exactly.
What are we going to do?
Amazing.
We're going to be part of a community.
Wow. Thank you, Nelson, for being here. It's been amazing. Guys, please engage with us in the comments. What are your thoughts? What are your key take homes? Let us know. My name is Lisa Kusima. I'm here to inspire. After 4 years of creating content, I'm excited to launch my website. I've been creating content on marriage, dating, womanhood, motherhood, and everything family that has impacted lots of lives. I've also been able to create digital products that have helped you with managing your house helps, breakfast recipes, helping with your marriages, creating content, right, and so much more. And I'm excited to announce that I'm bringing you the ultimate Christian dating guide. You guys have been saying that the dating streets are ghetto and you're frustrated, with dating the wrong people, things don't work out. I am here to help prepare you for the dating journey. Even when you're on the dating journey, I want to make it easier so that you can date purposefully and hopefully find the one. Because when we date wrong, we marry wrong. And we all know where that leads. So, check out my website, www.lisakusima.com, and you'll get access to all my digital products, including the ultimate Christian dating guide. I am here for you. I can't believe we actually have a website. Yay! So please run while the offer lasts. It's 10% off everything. Try it today.